Hi, everybody. I'm Elke. Thank you, Anne, for introducing me. I first have to say that I'm really impressed by the German Pünktlichkeit. At 9:30 or even at 9, seeing so much people popping up for a conference in Belgium, it would never be happy. So actually, I was thinking I'm going to take a picture and say, yes, it works in the rest of Europe. Anyway, yeah, today we're together to get a deep dive in the status of the European Fashion Report. But let me first introduce you the European Fashion Alliance. Um, it is founded into the European Fashion Alliance is founded in 2023. Of course, there were a lot of ambitions and works to done to go up to the legal construction and creation of EFA, but it was founded due to a lack of European presentation of the creative-driven industry. So let's say the SMEs, the independent brands, and the heritage houses. At EFA aims to be a strong voice for advocating and accelerating the European fashion towards a more sustainable, innovative, cultural, creative, and inclusive future. Nowadays, we have more than 25 members, mainly fashion councils, whereas spread over 21 countries. The fashion councils, Fédération de la Haute Couture, Camera Nazionale della Moda Italiana. For those who were there yesterday, you met Carlo and Pascal. There is also Fashion Council of Germany. There's also Flanders DC, which is the equivalent in Belgium, and also Copenhagen Fashion Week. So we also have fashion weeks in our organization next to schools and research institutes. Nowadays, we're representing indirectly more than 10,000 SMEs and fashion businesses from SMEs, mainly very small companies, up to heritage houses. In 2023, we decided to launch a survey because, as we heard yesterday, data collection is super important. So, of course, for a new kid on the block, as European Fashion Alliance is within the European landscape, we wanted to have some data. And this quote, if you read it, just covers everything what will come later, which means in the sustainable transition of the European fashion industry, everybody has a role, from customer to client, to a company to policy. Let me present you some key findings, 5 key findings. And first of all, which was quite remarkable, is that it has become a real endeavor for Europe to restore its trust in the fashion and textile industry. Because as you can see, 66% is quite a lot of the respondents believe that the general public image of the industry is rather negative to negative, mainly driven by sustainable aspects and ethical aspects, mainly and notably explained by the overproduction, of course, and the discussions on the living wages. What could help to improve the public opinion? We asked that also to the respondents. Pablo Eros, CEO of the famous brand Pablo Eros in Spain, everybody knows it. Huh? But it is a famous designer back in Spain. He says we have to ensure that the purchasing decision is not dictated by the lowest price. So what we need to do is, of course, we need to educate our consumers. If you see in the street a billboard of a jacket of 10, 15 euros, and even less, people think that is the real price. People think that is the real value for a jacket. No, we need to educate our consumers that they need to choose quality over quantity. And that is also a role for brands, but also for policy and fashion councils. Of course, transparency and regulation and compliance between those regulations within countries and Europe would improve, as well as supporting sustainable business models within Europe. Secondly, there is no fashion without sustainable. We all agree on that. I think we talked about it 2 days, and for the last years we talked about it. 88%, a large majority of the sector says of the respondents, which are mainly represented by SMEs, of course, say they invest in sustainability financially and with human resources. However, 59% of them say it indicates that they're not equipped with a tool. They're not LCA's life cycle assessments or product life cycle management is not part of their daily structure yet. What are the barriers to invest more? Irina Tosheva, which is a small brand in North Macedonia. We also interviewed, of course, brands from every country. She says it's challenging for my brand to source fabric with the correct sustainability credentials. So how can I make or how can I transfer the correct information to my customer? What are the barriers? The high cost, of course, and the lack of accessibility to material, to infrastructure, um, the regulatory changes. We have rules in one country and other rules in another country. So we need alignment within Europe, but even within the regions, because now Europe is going for a stricter regulation. But we need an alignment between regions and countries. There's also a lack of knowledge and education and a lack of consumer awareness that we discussed. However, brands, 56% of the brands indicate that they're doing clear efforts to expand the lifespan of their products, mainly in recycling and reuse programs, including repair services, redesign, and upcycling and reuse services. 62% is investing in innovative, lower impact materials, from which recycled textiles and semi-synthetic fabrics are mainly used. And then 91%, so that is a vast majority, is addressing more than social sustainability aspects as being important: living wages, crafts and skills, safeties and health standards, but only 27% of them is measuring it today. So there is work to do on that level. European Europe regulation. Today, I think a couple of weeks ago, of 2 weeks ago, we woke up in another world where it might have effect on Europe as well. We heard from yesterday. Europe is now taking serious steps for a stricter regulation. Let's see what it will be in the coming weeks, months, and years with the US focusing more on competitiveness, less and not on circularity. What Europe will do, of course, in terms of regulations, but this survey has been done, of course, before Trump was elected. We have to be aware that there is a lack of understanding of what the regulation is today, the upcoming regulation. Only 52% of the respondents are familiar with ESPR, the eco design regulation, upcoming eco design regulation. 44% is familiar with the digital product passport that Michele Casucci yesterday gently explained to us. How does that come? ESPR, there are major concerns on ESPR as well, is that, for example, the cost effectiveness or just the cost of the circularity and the repair and the reuse services, or what is the distinction between recyclable and non-recyclable materials, as well as what is the clear understanding of microplastics, DPP, as you, I don't know, from the people who were there yesterday, data collection is still something that is frightening a lot of companies in terms of workload, in terms of investment, in terms of human capacity. So yeah, let's see what it gives it. In an interview with Van der Velde Group, which is the only Belgian stock exchange rated company in lingerie, specialized in lingerie, they have a couple of big brands. She says it all. Complexity is a challenge. What we need actually, and they're already due to the European regulations, because for the SMEs it's only someone is giving me a sign. Thank you. It's only as from 2027. We need a clear roadmap and a scenario. What we need is clear guidelines, roadmaps, a phased implementation, of course, of the regulation, technical and financial assistance to be compliant, and harmonization across regions. Fourth finding, innovation and new technologies are key drivers. 46%, which is half of the population of the respondents, indicate that tech is a key driver for their businesses. 61% is saying like, hey, we're interested to get to know more about blockchain, Web3, NFTs, and the metaverse. But the implementation remains very limited, as you can see. There's also a clear need, moreover, on everything what is technology. Fifth finding, education. I think yesterday we also talked about it. We are also part of a very fast-moving industry. Industries will have to industries of universities will have to follow. More than 72% of the respondents see that there is a clear lack of skills in-house in the companies, especially on circularity and on sustainability, because they're highly valued. So universities will have to focus on that as well in the future, probably. There's a clear ask for training programs, for collaboration frameworks, together between universities and companies. Yeah, so open source trainings, webinars, trainings such as, please, they're always welcome to get this industry formed and educated. Just a very short conclusion. The creative fashion industry, mainly 99% consisting of SMEs and very small companies, they need a tailored approach to get that regulation and implemented in their daily structure, because otherwise it's not going to work. So there is a clear lag, as we've seen, on human capacity. There is a clear lag on financial support to bridge the gap. And the regulation alignment, of course, is hyper important. EFA, sorry, not EFA, is wrote some recommendations, which you can find actually in the report. So please, when you walk away, you can take one of the reports, and if you forget, you can download it on the EuropeanFashionAlliance.org website. I'm not going to deep dive in the recommendations. What we do today, just to give you an idea, is that we want to translate those recommendations into a clear action plan and see how we can help our very small businesses, but also the luxury houses, which are mainly represented by the French and the Italians, of course. So yeah, if we want to restore the trust in Europe's fashion and textile industry, I think we need to join forces. I think we need to educate, of course, together, all the consumer together, but we need help with that. We need clearer system financially and incentives to invest in human capital. Thank you very much. And please take one of the copies.